What we are listening, it's your boy here, and today I have got another episode of JABA's Deep Talks episode. I'm not quite sure what it is, it might be 16 or 17. Today's episode, it is Formula 1 2016 Quali changes plus what I feel F1 needs to do to improve their sport. So yeah, but before I begin, this is going to be a little bit of a rant video, so if you're not into me ranting, then click off the video right now. I'll give you a few seconds to do that right now. I'm guessing everyone's gone now, so yeah, let's get right into this video. So a few weeks ago there was changes to qualifying, so that meant that the qualifying rules have been changed. It was now sort of Royal Rumble, sort of reverse sort of Royal Rumble thing. Here's how it goes. So Q1 is basically after 7 minutes of the 16-minute session, because Q1 is 60 minutes, Q2 is 15, and Q3 is 14. 6 minutes after 7 minutes done, the slowest drivers from every minute and a half are excluded from the session, so they are automatically eliminated until the checker flag. By that time, the 7 drivers will be out, leaving 15 to remain to continue the session. So yeah. Then afterwards we go again, 6 minutes this time around. Every minute and a half each driver goes out until we have 8 drivers, and then from Q3 8 drivers to turn into 6 after 5 minutes of the session. So yeah, and that leads to battle out for pole position. So yeah. So what do I think of this? I'll leave XMattyG to give my initial reaction to this. You guessed it, it's horse wank. I really don't like it. One of the things I don't like, it is too confusing to the casual sort of audience who are tuning into F1, especially qualifying, trying to figure out what the hell is going on. It's just too confusing. I felt like the original sort of knockout sessions were absolutely amazing. They were so simplistic, easy to explain to casual viewers of the sport. So yeah. And also another thing, it will just create chaos. Imagine if like a bunch of cars go out on the track and tries to find some space to get that lap time. I know it's exciting, I know it's entertaining, but I just feel, in my opinion, as a driver, it would just create chaos. It would create frustration. It would create a lot of rage to a lot of drivers. So I feel like it's a bit of a bad thing, to be honest, you know. So yeah. Also, another thing is that it would just limit the amount of time that drivers would need to get out of a certain position, you know, to be honest. I mean, it would just limit the amount of time that they would have to do their thing. I know they got 7 minutes, but what if they make a mistake? What if there's changeable conditions? You know, it would be better if it was back to the original, so that if someone, you know, didn't have that best lap time or made a mistake, they can redeem themselves by having another go and try and who knows, beating it. So yeah, so really not really good. I really don't really like it at all, and that is when I heard it for the first time on Twitter, when I first heard it for the first time on Twitter, I absolutely raged. Absolutely went crazy, man. I even put a load of angry tweets on there, and even was threatening myself to even go to IndyCar racing for forever. I mean, I am an IndyCar fan, but I am an IndyCar fan and a Formula 1 fan, but I was almost about to commit myself to being an actual IndyCar fan for life, because if you think about it, IndyCar is way more better. Why, you may ask? Well, I'm going to explain to you. The reason why is because IndyCar have so much simplicity to their sport. I mean, especially qualifying. Qualifying pretty much knockout stages from the previous F1 format. But for the first part, there are 2 groups that go out. One group are settled in like even numbers, and then the others in like odd numbers. It's very, very confusing, but then afterwards it gets simplistic. due to like the knockout stage, the usual simplistic knockout stages of like 5 or 6 guys going out, leaving 10 guys to battle out for pole position, that kind of stuff. And it works. It really does work for IndyCar. It really does. And the races are so much better. Even IndyCar has 2 races on some occasions, which is bang out awesome. Awesome from IndyCar. You know, the fact that they would create 2 races on some occasions is awesome. And even they do over racing, which is insanely better. And that's the reason why most F1 drivers who quitted out of Formula 1 are now heading to IndyCar, because IndyCar, as Motorsport 101 quoted quite correctly, is sort of a nice chilled out sort of night out with your mates sort of thing like that, whereas Formula 1 is sort of like a Project X party. And let's not forget Formula E, which is 10 times better. If you think about it, you know, Formula E has a way better qualifying session. I know they don't use the same knockout sessions, but it's way better. Reason why? Because there's 5 sessions. 5 sessions. That's simplistic. 5 sessions, 5 cars, top 5, something like that, move into super pole, and they battle out for pole position. So yeah, and the 5 groups have about 7 to 8 minutes to get their lap times in, to get the best lap times in. So yeah, so I mean, imagine if Formula 1 did that. That would be so much better. I would legit love them if they did that, because it creates that entertainment, it creates that tension, you know, of who's gonna be knocked out, that kind of stuff, you know, like, it's so cool, it's so entertaining, you know, and that's what I love about Formula E, you know, that, and also the fan boost, the interactions with their fans. I mean, that's what Formula 1 needs to do as well, have more interactions with their fans, because if they don't, because I just feel like Formula 1 isn't doing that. It's all they're doing in terms of their Twitter feed is just posting like random things like that, history, that kind of stuff. Whereas Formula E, they connect to their fans, they talk about some latest things. They even had Ali 8, you know, who's a big social media star, driving in one of their cars. So to have that is pretty awesome. And if Formula 1 wanted, and that's something that Formula 1 needs to learn from both Formula E and IndyCar if they want to continue to be the juggernaut, the pinnacle of motorsport. So yeah. Anyways, back to the whole Formula 1 qualifying thing. I think it's a really shit idea. It's never going to work out. Apparently, it's going to be introduced to Spain because apparently there's some issues going on, that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's going to be good for the meantime for me. At least I'll get some happiness for the first 4 races, and then afterwards get some shitness. Yeah. But like I said, really shit idea. I don't know what was the reason behind this. You know, if it was entertaining, then it's really not. It makes it even it makes it even confusing, to say the least. Let's move on into the Formula 1, like what I think needs to be improved, sort of thing. Here's a run of things that I got. I looked this up on an article, and they perfectly like said most of the stuff that I want for F1 in terms of like their weekend schedule, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I feel like Friday they need to have a practice session, 2 practice sessions rather than 3. I think 2 would be awesome. Create little time for them to do their thing, that kind of stuff. So yeah, and then for qualifying, maybe have it on a Friday or a Saturday, depends. And then Saturday afternoon or Sunday morning have the sprint race. Sort of like A1GP, because recently I watched A1GP, loved it to bits. I was very, very sad when it went, to be honest, because it was such an amazing sport, because it had power boost, it had, you know, the main gist was the sprint race, feature race, and it had, you know, the awesome sort of nation versus nation sort of thing like that, which was really damn cool. So I feel like what they need to do in terms of their weekend schedule is have sort of like a sprint race, feature race, sort of like what GP2 are also doing as well, for that matter. So yeah, I mean, have it maybe on a Saturday afternoon or maybe a Sunday morning, to be honest, because a load of people are, when I went to the British Grand Prix in 2014, there was a load of people who were up watching some racing in the morning on Sunday. So to have maybe sort of like a sprint race quali, to have maybe a sort of a quali session for sprint race on Saturday, and then afterwards have the sprint race on the Sunday morning, and then for the feature race later on Saturday afternoon, have a sort of reverse grid style grid, you know, so first place will be dropped to 10th and then 10th will be dropped to first. So just like they do in GP2 as well. So yeah, I mean, it would make fantastic racing. It will give for some really good racing, and it'll be unpredictable as well. So why not? I feel like it'd be a great idea as well. And by the way, for the length of the sprint race, maybe sort of like 20, 25, 35, maybe 40% races. Sort of like the same as GP2 races. And then for the sprint race, of course, like 100%. So yeah, so I would be down if that was a thing. It would be so cool to have like maybe half points for the sprint race. So if, for instance, if Hamilton won the race in the sprint race, he would get 12 points, but then would drop to 10. So yeah. And then for 10th place, he would get half a point, and then he would be on pole position for the sprint race, so for the feature race. Yeah, so that would be a really good idea. I would feel like it would make for some good racing. It would make for some good on-track action in terms of the Formula 1 cars, because we don't get a lot in the current state as it is. So yeah, I think it would be a little bit hard in terms of like the support races, that kind of stuff. But they can just move it around, maybe have it on most of it on Saturday. So yeah, so that's my initial take on like what in terms of like the race weekend for Formula 1. So yeah. Also another thing is that if they could just be a bit more interactive in terms of social media, maybe make it more like IndyCar, because I know IndyCar are doing really well with their social media. They post like regularly so much, it's insane, man. They even post like a lot of cool videos, funny videos as well on their channel. They even post like race highlights, which are awesome for people who've missed the race. They can just click on the video and just watch it. It's so cool. F1 have sort of done that with their race edits and also their race highlights, which is pretty cool. If they could just continue that, maybe put a bit more into it, that would be pretty cool as well. But yeah, I mean, maybe have a bit more funny moments, like maybe have a bit more behind the scenes for the drivers, that kind of stuff. It would really make for good. It would really be awesome in terms of social media. Also maybe, and then, you know, on top of that, you know, interactivity with their fans, that kind of stuff would be so much better, you know, in terms of feedback, you know, what the fans want in terms of the sport in general. So lastly, this is something that I touched upon in the previous video. It was a JABA Deep Talks episode. It was talking about the current state of F1 and what needs to be improved. That was kind of last year. So yeah, but it'd be nice to have sort of the bottom teams who are scoring like last in the constructors getting the most amount of money so that they can develop their car, so that they can be very competitive, and also, you know, to sort of keep the stability in both sides of the grid. So the top teams, you know, having the least amount of money, and then the bottom teams having the most, and then staying alive. So yeah, it'd be really cool. It would really help in terms of the lower teams who are just struggling for money. You know, if they were last, they can they have the money. They have the most amount of money to use their development of their car to be better. So yeah, that's my takes on what needs to be improved for F1, and also my thoughts on the quali session. Sorry if it was a bit of a rant. It might have not been a rant, I don't know, but yeah, sorry if it was a rant. I do apologise, but you were warned. Yeah. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, then hit the like button below. Leave a comment on what you think about these on this change, and also what improvements would you like to see in F1. And also, if you did like this video, hit the like button below. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you guys next time. Your boy, I'm out. Peace.